So let's start with the reading. Sometimes a lot of students find this okay. Sometimes they find it difficult. But then again, once you started reading, hope it would be okay. But sometimes, especially now, because I would be giving you again an exam after our discussion. I hope you wouldn't black out, or when you start reading, I hope like it wouldn't be like, what is this paragraph talking about, something like that, right? So I hope. Anyway, everybody would be taking the general module, right? Because I think some of you answered that they would be taking the academic module, but after that, when I cleared up what's the difference between general and academic, they mentioned like they would be taking the general, right? Class?
Yes, ma'am. We are taking general.
General. So it's
Yes,
okay.
ma'am. General.
Okay. But then just in case, if you want to take the academic module, let me know. So I could also give you an academic practice exam. Okay?
All right.
Because for the listening part, it's the same with academic and general. But then when it comes to the reading test, the test that they give for the general module is different with that of the test that they give to the academic module. So let me know. But then there's it's not too much, because some people, they would say, especially now, later when I give the examples of the question types, you would notice that sometimes the academic exams are a bit easier compared to the general, and sometimes the general reading stuff, the articles that you would read during the general exam test, are harder or easier. So it depends actually. If you're lucky, yes. So let's start with, okay. So I'll just mute everybody, but then let me know. I think you can unmute yourself if you have any questions. And if I talk too fast, please don't hesitate to say like, ma'am, please slow down. Or don't hesitate to say, if you have any clarified questions, if you want to clarify something, let me know also. Just say stop. Anyway, we're quite open here. So I'll mute everybody and let me know if you have any questions. Okay, so I think this is our third, yeah. We had the introduction, then we discussed the listening section. So now we're in the reading section. So this is our third session. So again, just a recap on the IELTS test format. You have 30 minutes for the listening, then 10 minutes transfer time. So it's the same for everybody, regardless if it's general or academic. Then for the same day, you will take the reading exam. So it's 60 minutes, so that's 1 hour. So it's separate. It's different for the people taking the academic module. And the test also for the reading part would also be different with those taking the general module. So after the reading exam, you get a bit of a break, bathroom break. Then you proceed to the writing exam, which is another 1 hour or 60 minutes. Then after that again, it's either you have a schedule for the speaking, either on the same day or the day before or the day after. So for the reading test, it's 1 hour, and there isn't a transfer time like that of the listening exams. You would have 40 items, so say it would be 1.5 minutes per each question. The test part is divided into 3 sections. So you would encounter, or you would be reading at least text around 2,150 to 2,750 words. So let's say it would be around 3 pages of articles or text. Again, what are the types of questions? This is very important. You would encounter multiple choice questions, identifying information. It's either true, false, or not given. This part is the challenging part for the students, especially sometimes they don't get a perfect score because of this type of questions. the identifying information, if it's true, false, or not given. So we would also focus on this during our discussion later, like how to answer, how to differentiate if it's false or not given. Usually it's easier to say it's true, but then it's much more difficult to identify if it's false or not given. So we would focus on that, and I would give you examples. Again, same like this identifying information. Another question type is identifying writer's view or claims. So is the writer's view, is it yes or no, or is it not given? So it's the same like the former question. So it's also a bit difficult. So it's the same strategy. Then again, like the listening exams, you get to match information, headings, features, and sentence endings. Like for example, here in this type of questions for the matching type, for example, there would be a paragraph and they would ask you to match it with a certain title, a title that's appropriate to that paragraph, or let's say a subject matter appropriate to each of the paragraphs. So that would be the type of questions that you would encounter. There would also you will also encounter questions like sentence completion. So you need to complete the sentence. So it's very important when you answer these questions, it's very important that you have the proper grammar. Then at the same time, you answer with the proper spelling, because otherwise you would get a 0 point. Or it depends, maybe they would give you a half point, but usually it's 0 point. Again, summary completion, so it's just fill in the blanks again. Note completion, it's like the listening exams, remember? But then you tend to write here for the note completion, and table completion. So those are the types of questions that you would encounter during the reading exam. So for the academic exam, the text would be authentic and taken from books, journals, magazines, and newspapers. Again, it's the same number of words. Yeah, the texts are just a bit more difficult or challenging, because probably if you would take the academic type of exam, you would encounter a much more difficult, a higher standard of vocabulary. That's it. But then it would be the same general topics, like everyday topics or topics that you would encounter. For example, if there's a bike ride, or yeah, general issues. So how is the exam divided for the reading section? So it's divided into 3 sections. So for section 1, it would contain 2 or 3 factual texts. So the topics that you would read about topics about everyday life in an English-speaking country. So anyway, we will have some examples later so you would know. Then section 2, you would read texts regarding work-related issues. So maybe it would be a memo, yeah, anything that you would encounter during work, or a memo or a letter, and you would receive some questions about it. Section 3, it's a longer and more complex text. So as the test progresses, again, it becomes more challenging or difficult. So maybe you would get more, you would read more, and yeah, the questions would be more difficult. Again, the text would be taken from notices. So for example, you would see a notice board on a supermarket, like how to return or refund goods. So when you read those type of notices, they would get the questions from those notices. Advertisements. So for example, it would be a job, you would see advertisements for language centers. So you would find questions for that. Company handbook, an excerpt from a book or a chapter, let's say, magazine, articles, newspaper, and other official documents. So for section 1, as mentioned earlier, it's regarding the day-to-day life. So you would find like notices, advertisements, and timetables. So timetables, say a timetable on, maybe they would post something regarding the timing of the movie. What is the title of the movie? When can you watch it? How much is it? Something like that. So again, these are some examples of the topics. Community education programs, evacuation procedures for a public space. Sometimes when you go to Facebook and you follow, say, the Philippine consulate or your consulate for that matter, you would note there would be an announcement from our ambassador saying, okay, like the consular office is closed because it's a holiday, something like that. Or I I think for Saudi there was, maybe they had some bombings now, or I'm not sure, in Riyadh. Houthi rebels were trying to bomb Riyadh now. So the Philippine embassy there would issue like a notice or a memo saying like, okay, if you encounter stuff like this, you can there would be steps like, okay, contact this number or email us, something like that. So product return notices, advertisements for foreign language centers, cycle, bike ride, mail order products. So that's for section number 1. So for section number 2, it's work-related issues. So for example, these are some of the topics. Company policies. What are your company policies for using the telephone or your computer internet policies? For example, like Facebook isn't allowed. Personal emails you cannot access your personal emails during working hours. You're not allowed, say, some companies, they would say like, you're not allowed to bring home your laptop, but then if you need to work from home, you need to apply for some clearance, something like that. So pay and working conditions. So that would be your contract, your labor contract. Workplace facilities, they would say like, okay, for example, now, your HR would have probably posted a notice like, for workplace facilities, like we need to wear a mask when you're inside the office. You can't approach people, or you have to talk to them from a certain distance. What else? In the elevators, only 4 people are allowed, and you have to stand at the corners. Yeah, those kinds of notices. Applying for a job, so it would any notices that you would encounter from, say, the Bizzle advertisement or Golf News job advertisement, classified ads, staff development. So probably you would encounter an email from HR and saying you're invited to attend a seminar. It would be for, say, training for sales, training for what are the kinds of trainings that you would receive anyway, the typical trainings. Hopefully you wouldn't receive such letters regarding workplace dismissals, but unfortunately a lot of people are experiencing now. But then again, we have to move on and find something else. Job descriptions, say job contracts, training materials, company expense policies, and complaint procedures. For example, you were harassed, so what are the complaint procedures? It's in the company handbook. So sometimes it would be included in exam, and from that you would read that policy or procedure, and they would ask questions from that. So for section 3, it's a longer text. Sometimes you would encounter during the exam, like some of the texts are repeated. So they would ask like you would encounter the same text, but they would ask, there would be different types of question. You would encounter different question types. So for the same text, sometimes you would have like a multiple choice. Then at the same time, after 5 questions, you would have, say, a yes, no, or not available or not given question type. So again, some of the examples, topic examples for section 3 is, say, anything related to health. So probably they would be getting an excerpt from the Calisthenics Today magazine. Understanding behavior. Later you would see like some of the examples. Robots at work, the history of cinema, why is sleep so important. So those are the kind of general topics that you would encounter during the reading sections. And also this would be some of the topics also for essays, sometimes. Okay, so what are the tips? How to improve your score? This is very important. So the first thing is you have to develop your skill for each type of question in the reading exam. So it's very important, like, that's why I was telling you, answer the chapters in your Cambridge textbook, the IELTS preparation exam. What's the title now? Oh my gosh. The IELTS book, the reviewer. Answer that because it develops your skills. It's a building block. So it would develop your skill in paraphrasing, which is very important for all the different types of sections that we have, or different types of tests. It's very important. Like, you need to paraphrase your answers when you're speaking. You need to paraphrase your answers when you're writing your essays. At the same time, to get the answers from the reading section, some of the words or some of the they are paraphrased. You don't exactly get the correct exact answer. So that's why, for example, like, the skill of paraphrasing is very important. So that's why you have to develop those skills. Again, it's very important to skim and scan. So what's the difference of skimming and scanning? Basically, skimming is you need to get a general idea of what the paragraph is all about. Usually, you would get a general idea if you when you, let's say, read the title. So when you skim or read the title, you already have a general idea of what the article is all about. Again, sometimes, how do you skim? Usually, like, for teachers, they would say, like, okay, read the first two sentences of the paragraph, then at the same time read the last two sentences of the paragraph. Because usually, as you would remember, especially when you write, you already write the summary in the beginning, and at the same time you rewrite again in the end. So sometimes you would get a general idea of the topic if you read the first two sentences in the beginning and at the end. So that's how to skim. So what's scanning? Scanning is your ability to check or locate where the information is. So for example, when you read the questions, and from the questions, you would see, like, the questions would say something like, it's in the, say, who developed, did the Chinese say develop gunpowder during the 1960s or 1900s, for example. It's just like that, huh? So again, you go back to the article, you scan it. How do you scan? You look for the word Chinese, you look for the date 1900s, you look for the word gunpowder, and from then you would get the answer. You can locate, like, okay, oh, it's from this paragraph where I could get the answer. And then from then you try to read and understand the paragraph and check if indeed that's where you would get the answer to the questions. So that is scanning. And that's really very important. Okay, I already discussed. So basically, for skimming, you need to get the summary or get the general idea, or some people, they would say the gist. It's another word for the general idea of something, of a paragraph. So I'll just ask you to watch this. At least it would give you it would explain, like, what's the difference between scanning and scanning and how to do it. So it's around, say, 10 minutes.
In this lecture, I'm going to give you a really important, really useful technique for doing well in the reading test. And it's called skimming and scanning. Now, here is what you may have to read in the IELTS reading test, at least for the academic test. Here you've got 3 texts from the academic IELTS. For general training, you will have 5 or 6 much shorter texts. But for both, you're going to have to read something like 2,500 words, which is a lot. Remember, you have 60 minutes to do the IELTS reading test. You have to answer 40 questions as well. So you do not have time to read these texts word for word. There's too much to read, and I can give you a much more effective technique. And what I'm going to give you is this 3-step technique. So step 1, you skim the text. You skim read. Step 2, you look at the questions. And step 3, you scan. You scan the text for the answers. So basically, you're not going to read the text as you normally would. You're first of all going to skim read, then you're going to look at the questions, and then you're going to scan the text for the answers. So step 1 is skim read. Now, skim reading is not fast reading or speed reading. It's a very deliberate, very specific strategy. And what you've got to do when you skim read is your task is to find out, first of all, what is the topic of the text. So what is the text about? And secondly, what is the topic of each paragraph? So what is each paragraph about? And you're basically going to try and to build kind of like a bird's eye view of the text, a sort of a very high up view of the text, basically so you can see where everything is. You're kind of trying to build a map of the text so you know what's in each paragraph, what each paragraph is about, and what the text is about. Now here's an example text. William Henry Perkin. This is about a British scientist. And if I zoom in a bit, how do we skim read this text? Well, there's several things you can do. First of all, you can look for the headings in the text. Now this text has only got 2 headings. Here's the main heading and the subheading, the man who invented synthetic dyes. Synthetic dyes. So that tells you something about the text. You might have more headings in another text, but you can also look for the topic sentence. This will help you find out what each paragraph is about. And the topic sentence is basically the first sentence in each paragraph, and it often gives you an idea of what each paragraph is about. So this says, William Henry Perkin was born on March the 12th, 1838, in London, England. So you know that this is an English person. You know when he was born. You could possibly guess that this first paragraph is going to be about his early life. You can also look for keywords. Keywords are important words, important content words, often names of places or names of people, which again give you a clue as to what the whole paragraph is about. So you have to do this very quickly. It's not an exact science. You just have to guess what's important. So this says, as a boy. Let's have a quick look through. Chance stumbling upon. Laboratory. Enthusiasm for chemistry. I think that's important. So you have to have a guess as to what you think is important. So I know now that this first paragraph is about William Henry Perkin. It's about his early life as a boy, and that he was enthusiastic about chemistry. So I haven't read the whole paragraph. So now I'm going to zoom back out and I can show you how you would do this for the whole text. So basically, you read the first sentence of each paragraph, the topic sentence, and then you very quickly scan for keywords in the paragraph. And then you do the same with all of the paragraphs in the text. You read the topic sentence and then quickly scan for keywords. So here I've pulled out some names of people. name of a college. Read the first paragraph, the topic, read the first sentence, the topic sentence, scan for keywords. Read the topic sentence, scan for keywords, read the topic sentence, scan for keywords. And what I will have done by skim reading, and you can use a highlighter on the reading text as well to help you do this. When you finish skim reading, you will have a map of the text. You will have an idea what the text is about, and you will have a good idea what each paragraph is about. And that will help you when you answer the questions. So in step 2, you look at the question, you analyze the question. Here's an example set of questions for this same text. True, false, not given. And here is the question for number 1. Michael Faraday was the first person to recognize Perkins' ability as a student of chemistry. What are the key words here? What are the most important words here? Well, I think Michael Faraday is a very important word. Keywords and often names. Was the first I think the first person as well is a key word. I think that's important. To recognize Perkins' ability as... Yes, I think recognize Perkins' ability as well is keywords. So who was the first person to recognize Perkins' ability? Was it Michael Faraday? So now, let's find the answer. And in step 3, you need to scan the text.
Class. Pa-mute. Mute ko na lang ulit kayo. Okay.
Text for the answer. So here we have the question on the left. Remember, it's a true, false, not given question. And the text on the right. So Michael Faraday, first person, recognize. Recognize, can you think of a synonym? Maybe see, saw, Perkins' ability. So let's have a look. Here's Michael Faraday. Okay, so the answer to the question is possibly around here somewhere. You need to look around that particular keyword. So Michael Faraday, eminent scientist Michael Faraday at the Royal Institution. Those speeches fired the young chemist's enthusiasm further, and he doesn't say anything about recognizing Perkins' ability. It made Perkins enthusiastic, but so maybe it's not given. But before we write down not given, let's look above Michael Faraday, his talent and devotion. And now talent is a synonym of ability. His ability, his talent and devotion to the subject were perceived is a synonym of recognize by his teacher, Thomas Hall. So Thomas Hall was the first person to recognize Perkins' ability because he perceived Perkins' talent. And I assume he was the first person because it was at school. So it was Thomas Hall. So actually, the answer is not given. The answer is false because it was Michael Hall who was the first person to perceive Perkins' ability, not Michael Faraday. Okay, so I've written down the answer on the answer sheet. So there you are. That's how you do it. You skim read, you look at the question, you analyze the question, and then you scan the text for the answer. You do not read word for word as you normally would. That's the strategy I always recommend students to follow. Skimming and scanning. In this lecture,
Okay, as earlier mentioned, okay, you would notice like it says there, and during the video, like, okay, like read the first sentence or 2 sentences of the paragraph, scan for information, read again the first few sentences, and scan for information. So that's what skimming and scanning is all about. So just a summary. So for example, how to do skimming. Notice the title of the passage, as it often gives you the general idea. Then again, read the first sentence or 2 of each paragraph, because usually this is where the main idea of each paragraph is located. If you would notice when you went to school before, some of your teachers would say either you write it this way, or you write a paragraph this way, or you write a paragraph this way. What do they mean? It means like sometimes the topic, so this is a triangle, right? Sometimes the topic is in the beginning for each paragraph, or some people, they write this way. So sometimes the summary of the whole paragraph is located at the end. So that's why earlier I mentioned, like, it's either you both read it in the beginning, or you read the paragraph in the end. That's why that's the safest way. Then, so another strategy would be like underline words that stand out as important. So for the example earlier in the video, you underline the words such as Michael Faraday, you highlight or underline the dates. So those are, at least so you would get the general idea. Then you have to pick out words that have something in common, because usually, like, if it's, let's say it's a topic regarding flying, traveling through airports. So if that is the article, you would encounter words such as airports, passengers, lounge, fly. So at least when you see those kind of words, you would generally have an idea that the topic is all about traveling via an aircraft, something like that, right? So ignore the words that you do not know. Don't dwell on stuff that you do not know. So you wouldn't feel bad. And anyway, at the end of the day, if you get stressed while reading, and if you don't know the words, so just don't dwell on it. Anyway, later, once you, let's say that there's a certain word that you do not know, but once you read the sentence before and after it, or the words before and after that, and after that word that you don't know, anyway, you would have an inkling anyway, what's the meaning of that word. So don't worry. At all times, try to get caught up in the detail when you skim. Because skimming and scanning, it's a time saver. That's why usually for exams such as this, it's just 1 hour and you have to read a lot. The best way to save time is to skim and scan. That's why this is a very important skill. Wait. Okay. So I'll give you an example. There would be some words that are bold. And let's see, like, if you can locate where you can find the answers. Okay, so this is the paragraph, the paragraphs, I mean. So the topic is, it's in bold, right? So helium's future up in the air. So try to read the bold parts. So it's just the beginning of the sentences and some very important words. Then try to answer the questions. Hopefully don't look at the answers for the time being. Then locate which paragraph contains the following information. Oh, sorry, wait. Ayan. Okay. Number 1, use for helium which makes an activity safer. Is it located in paragraph B or paragraph C? A term which describes the process of helium is taken out of the ground. Where can you find the answer? Is it in paragraph B or paragraph C? So I'll give you, let's say, a minute or 2 to just read the words in bold and try to answer. Okay? 7:48. $7.48, $7.49. So, did you read it fast or no? How is it? How was it? Are you still reading? Okay. Take your
The
time.
keywords.
And the answer is down. You just read the keywords, the first paragraph, the first sentence, and you would already know where you should get the answer to the question, right? So let's go. Let's say, okay, number 1, a use for helium which makes an activity safer. So where can you find the answer? Is it paragraph B or paragraph C?
C.
Okay, the answer is it's in paragraph C. Why is it in paragraph C? What were the words that
It
stood
talks
out?
about cleaning agent.
Commercial usage.
Okay, yeah.
Usage.
Especially the commercial usage word. It's synonymous with use, right? So
Yes.
immediately when you see the commercial usage, oh, okay. So probably this is where I could find the answer. So using those the scanning and skimming skill, you would know where to find the answer. So let's say, okay, number 2, a term which describes the process of how helium is taken out of the ground. So the answer would be, you would find it in paragraph B.
B.
Yeah. Why do you think the answer is in paragraph B? What were the words that stood out?
It's atmosphere.
Connected.
Functional distillation.
Yeah, the paragraph, the last sentence in the paragraph, commercially extracted through a method known as fractional distillation. So if you would read again the question, how helium is taken out. Again, something that's the same with the phrase taken out is
Extracted.
yeah, the word extracted. So immediately you would know, okay, I could get the answer from this paragraph. So you can go to that paragraph, then reread again, say, okay, you already know, okay, I could get the answer from this paragraph. So it's either you can reread these 2 sentences. And from there, if there are any related questions, you just need to read these 2 sentences. You don't need to read and understand the whole paragraph. That's why it's it's really a time saver if you have the skimming and scanning skills. Okay? So this is just an example. We will have more examples later. Especially anyway, you would also take the exam again later.
Confused yung mga vocabulary words.
Very important, di ba?
Vocabulary.
It's very important na your vocabulary is also good. Because sometimes with paraphrasing and you know the synonyms. Again, another skill that you have to develop aside from skimming and scanning and paraphrasing is your speed reading skills. So how do you speed read? Just use the finger and I'll get a book. Oh. Okay. Sometimes, for example, okay, it would take you say 3 minutes to read this. Say 1 minute, right? 2 minutes. But then if you speed read 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006, 1007, 1008. So if you speed read and use your finger, you follow your eyes will follow your fingers when you read. It would just take you 10 seconds to read this text. And it takes a lot of practice. That's how I read cases before. Especially like, for example, they would ask you to read, let's say cases like for 40 pages or 100 pages. You have to speed read. It would really take a lot of time, but then sometimes with speed reading, you just follow your finger, read. In the beginning, you wouldn't understand actually what you're reading. But then once you practice and start reading using your finger, you read faster, and at the same time, your comprehension skills would improve. So don't worry. But then that's the basic skill force. That's how you speed read. If you want to learn more about speed reading, just Google it on YouTube. Search for speed reading, how to speed read on YouTube, I mean. And there would be a lot of tutorials. But yeah, I learned with the finger, with the magic finger. So that's how you speed read. Again, another tip is, as mentioned earlier, you don't need to understand or read the whole full passage, especially when you're answering, because that's really a waste of time. You don't need to understand or read the full passage. Your task is only to locate the answers. So what's the best way to locate the answers? Skimming and scanning. Basically, you have to read the questions. Then from those questions, you can know what kind of words you should locate. What would be or what synonyms. Like earlier, right? The question was, okay, something to do with usage. Or for example, the phrase that was used in the question was taking something out. So at least when you try to scan and you find like a phrase that means taking something out, oh, okay, you zoom in on that. So that word is extraction. Then try to read that sentence and understand it. That's just it. So again, then last, very important, not only for reading, but for all the different types of exams, you have to develop your vocabulary. So that's why it's important. If it's fun for you, like for example, before I gave you like that online practice, at least you could develop. I think I gave around 500 words for that you can answer. You can
Yes,
play.
ma'am. 500.
Yes, 500 words. At least while you're playing with that, you've already like added 500 words to your vocabulary. So I'll see again if I could add again. I hope some of you tried it. If for the others, if they don't have the time, or at least if because some people they learn differently, right? Some people they would learn through games. Some people they would learn through answering the book. I gave you also a workbook for the Cambridge vocabulary workbook, right? So also if you're into that, answer that also. Some people also if try also that Norman Lewis book that I gave, because sometimes some people, yeah, they would have a different way of understanding things. Sometimes using this book, okay, they understood this, but when they read another book, they wouldn't get it. So try different ways of building up your vocabulary. Okay, that's why I gave you some different like practice, some games. So try to do that. But anyway, reading a lot will really develop your vocabulary. That's the best way to improve your vocabulary. Read a lot. Because for example, like when you encounter a lot of words that you understand, you go to the you go search for the meaning of the words, and at the same time try to use those words in your day-to-day conversations or when you write. So at least it would aside from developing your vocabulary, how do you say that? Anyway, next topic. Can paraphrase it now. Okay. So how to develop your vocabulary? So doing those stuff, and at the same time, try to read regularly. So at least for 15 to 20 minutes per day at least. So again, if you're interested, you're into gardening, read about gardening in English. If you're into manga, read comic books, anime books. Or if you're into minimalism, follow a Facebook page on minimalism and read. So read on stuff that you're passionate about, so it's easier for you to study for English. Okay? Okay. So it's very important that you know how to locate the keywords. So that's how you can locate the keywords through scanning again. Okay, another tip is you have to improve your grammar, especially for question types such as summary completion and sentence completion. You're required that your grammar it's correct, especially when you answer it. So again, improve on your grammar. Anyway, just focus on, say, what's this now, the verb, subject and verb agreement. So if it's a plural subject, your verb should be in plural form. If it's a singular subject, your verb should be in singular form. If it's a present tense, if the topic is regarding present day activities, it should be in present tense or present perfect. Or if they're talking something about the past, so it should be in the past tense. So basically that's it. So those are the things that you have to take in consideration. Again, they say practice makes perfect. So later on, do the practice exams always. Anyway, we always end our lesson with a practice exam, so it's good also. So at least you would know what are the stuff that you need to how do you say, to build up on, to work on. If you feel like, okay, oh mom, I got a low score on this, why, right? So I would say, like, okay, just try to I'll give you these practice exams and try to answer these exams, something like that. At least you would know later why you got a low score, or at least from the practice exams we can pinpoint, like, your grammar is not that good, your vocabulary is low, so it's good also that you have to increase on your vocabulary. So yeah, practice makes perfect. You really need to practice, and you really need to allot certain time every day. So don't forget about that. Anyway, if you don't work hard, don't expect to get a high grade. Okay? Okay, just a recap on the strategies. First, you have to skim the passage. So read quickly to get a general content and the layout. Then you go back, read the questions, identify the type of question, then remember your techniques and tips for that question type. Then you go back, find a keyword or information in the question to help you locate the answer in the passage. Then again, scan the passage again by passing your eyes over the paragraphs to find the keywords or information from the question. Then when you find the location, read the sentences before and after, because you need to understand it, right? So that's why you need to read. For example, you located the information or the keyword. So read the sentences before it and read the sentences after it, so you would know if that's really the answer to the question. So always read around the answer to check other information, because sometimes you feel like, okay, this is where I should get the answer, but then there would be other, how do you say, panggulo, something that would just give you a detour. Number 9, try to understand a few sentences around the location of the answer. Anyway, you would know this later, like how to apply this. Okay, let's go to the different types of questions that you may encounter on the IELTS reading paper. So at least we can answer those, and we can we can apply the techniques that we learned earlier. Okay, so this one question type for the IELTS reading is a multiple choice. So I have to give you, wait, new share. Let's open this. So this is a multiple choice. I hope everybody can see this. Class, can you see this?
Make it bigger.
Make it bigger, okay.
Apat na mata ko, di ko pa rin makita. Ayan, much better, ma'am.
Totoo, no? Ganyan talaga. Mahirap. Masakit sa mata eh, pag sa screen. Okay, so this is an example. It's an academic reading example, multiple choice. So it's, as you would notice, it's an extract from, its a subject is government subsidies to farmers. So this is an example of, they don't need to read. Ayan. So this is an example, since it's an academic text, so we don't need to answer now. Pero this is how many words that this is an example of how long the texts are. So if you would notice, you would read, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraph, and this is how long it is. So what type of questions? So again, it's very important. Follow the directions. So if the directions would say choose appropriate answers, and the letters should only be A, B, C, or D, on the answer sheet, the examiner or the test checker should only see these answers, okay? A, B, C, or D. So for example, this is the question. You read the question, right? Research completed in 1982 found that in the United States, soil erosion, A, reduced the productivity of farmland by 20%, B, blah, 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 C, blah, 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 D, blah, blah, blah. So for example, these are the keywords for the question. So go back to the text and look for, say, 1982, United States, soil erosion, and probably some keywords from this, just to confirm if it's the correct answer. So let's go to 1982 and US soil erosion, right? So look for something with 1982, right? So first paragraph, there is 1982 here. Just to confirm, do you see any 1982 on the second paragraph? None, right? Third paragraph, do you see 1982? None, right? I know, I'm quite fast. Last paragraph, do you see anything 1982? None. So let's focus on paragraph number 1 with 1982. Then read. So it's either you read from here or you read from here. Soil erosion. So you can read this one. So try to understand these 3 sentences. Then go back again, or go back to the question again, read again the question, then again go back to these 3 sentences and see what's the answer. So basically that's it. I don't know what the answer is, but yes.
Which one would you recommend to us? Shall we read first the questions and go to the text, or shall we read the text first, then go to the questions?
Better read the questions first, like the listening part, like our listening session before. They always ask you to read the questions.
Oh, I see.
Yes. For me, I would read the questions first. Then I will read the questions first, then locate for the keywords. Then from the keywords, for example, I located the keywords already. I scanned for the words. I try to understand. Then I check if I could get the answer from there. If I could get the answer, okay, well and good. But then sometimes it's quite difficult. You wouldn't still say like, okay, I don't feel like this is the correct answer. So the problem with that is now you have to understand the full paragraph. Try to read the full paragraph. That's when you start reading again. But then usually from the questions, you go back to the question, locate for keywords, keywords in the questions, look for something synonymous or something paraphrase, go back to the paragraph, locate for the keyword there, just match it, try if it makes sense, go back again to the question, match it again, does it make sense? Are the answers there among A, B, C, or D? Then voila, it's there. So okay, it's done. You would need the skimming because there would be types of questions wherein you would be asked what should be the title of this paragraph, something like that, and what should be the title of this paragraph. So for that, you're required to do skimming. You read the first few sentences, so you would know what's the appropriate title. So it depends. So if it's a question like that, it's better to read the question, then look for keywords, then go back, something like that. So, for example, again, by mid-1980s, farmers in Denmark. 80s, Denmark farmers. So look for 1980s and Denmark. Okay, read this also if you want. But for me, I would just go straight to this. Because anyway, sometimes it would be, okay, there's 1980s here, but I don't see any Denmark, right? Again, 1980s here, but Denmark is around here. So try to read this. And hopefully from reading this,
1960.
yes, 1980s, yeah, it's between there. Then hopefully you would get the answer to that. But anyway, this is the academic exam, academic module. So, but then later anyway, right, I would be sharing the PowerPoint to you. So try to answer this on your own and see like, okay, why is the answer this way? Were you able to were you able to get the correct answers? Yeah, so practice on that. Okay? Again, New Zealand. Which one of the following increased in New Zealand after 1984? So, how do you 1984 locate for the keywords 84 and New Zealand? So 84 and New Zealand. Here, yeah, this one. This. Just to be on the safe side. This paragraph, does it contain anything regarding 1984 in New Zealand? No. Does this paragraph contain anything 1984 and there would be a mention of New Zealand? No, right? So it should be in this paragraph. And basically it's in this sentence. So try to read this, understand this, and try to go back again to the question. Okay? So let's go back again to giving you some examples. It takes time if we will answer it one by one. Okay, so I'll give you an example of a question type for general training. I don't have that multiple choice for, unfortunately, for the general training part. So this one it's an example of true, false, or not given. Okay. Okay, this one. Oh, nangyari. Can you see this London to Brighton bike ride? Wait, just to be on the say, yeah, I think, yeah, it's shared. Okay, so this is an example of a true, false, or not given question type. So basically, like I mentioned earlier, if you want, okay, just go through this. But for me, I would go straight to the questions, right? So London to Brighton bike ride, the start, ride carefully, follow instructions. But sometimes, okay, you can do like read this or read the title so you would have a mapping, a general idea of the article. So this is a London to Brighton bike ride. And in this article, it discusses the start, ride carefully, why do you need to follow instructions, wear a helmet, attracting assistance, in case of breakdown, refreshment stop. So those are, just read the title, for example. Then we'll go to the question type directly. So for example, questions number 1 to 8. The questions are, okay, do the following statements agree with the information given in the text? Okay, it's bigger now, right? Okay, true if the statement agrees with the information. False if the statement contradicts the information. And not given if there is no information on this. Okay, so number 1, it says here, you should not arrive more than half an hour before your allocated starting time. So this sentence, it's regarding the starting time, right? So let's go back to the excerpt, if it's about the starting time, and read something about starting time. So basically, let's go here, the start. So the relevant sentence is this one. Your start time is indicated by the color of your body number in this pack. It is also printed on the address label of the envelope. Please arrive no earlier than 30 minutes before that time. So please arrive no earlier than 30 minutes before that time. So what again was the statement? Let's go back to the statement. You should not arrive more than half an hour before your allocated starting time. Is it true, false, or not given?
True.
True.
Actually, it's difficult. Yeah, I don't like that double negative. You should not arrive. Hate that not. So let's see the answer. It's true. Right?
Yes.
Because the statement agrees with the information. Actually, the only thing that you would choose, the only answer that you would choose is either it's true or false. Because you cannot choose not given because the information is in the article. Okay? If, for example, you're thinking that it might be false or not given, later we'll, let's see. Okay, number 2. Your rider identity card will be sent to you before the event. Okay, so this is the statement. Your rider identity card will be sent to you before the event. So look for, say the keyword rider identity card, right? So let's go back to the excerpt or to the article. So anything with rider identity card, where will we get that? The start, no. Follow instructions, no. Rider identity card, see when you speed read? Na. Okay. From the article, this is the only paragraph where it states there's the word rider identity card, right? Go down. Is there any mention of the word or rider identity card? None. Go down again. None. Go down again. None. So just focus on this paragraph. What does this paragraph say? Refer to your route map and make your way to a mechanic's point. Mechanical assistance is free when you show your rider identity card. You just pay for the parts. So in this paragraph or in this sentence, it just states that you need to show your rider identity card. It doesn't say anything about your rider identity card being sent to you before the event, right? So what is the answer?
Not given.
Not given. Let's see if it's correct. So it's not given. Number 3, why is it true? Okay, let's see. Number 3. Some roads may have normal traffic flow on them. So check for any paragraph or any sentences that would discuss this. So roads, normal traffic flow. So go back again to the article. So let's say this one. Ride carefully. So it would be regarding about the traffic, right? Okay. So although many roads are closed to oncoming traffic, this is not always the case, and you should be aware of the possibility that there would be vehicles coming in the opposite direction. So you would get your answer from this. So from this statement, it states then it's confirmed then that the statement in number 3 is true because there is normal traffic flow. Normal traffic flow meaning, what did the statement here say? Yeah, normal traffic flow. So there's always vehicles coming in opposite direction. It's a two-way vehicle road. Again, although some roads will be closed, again, it would be normal traffic flow, right? So it agrees. So it's true. Okay, let's say number 4. Helmets are compulsory for all participants. What's the answer for number 4? Let's see. 4 is false. Okay. So helmets are compulsory for all participants. So let's go back to the excerpt. Anything related to safety. So here, something to do with helmet. So read this. Every year, we are delighted to see more riders wearing protective helmets, but we would like to see every cyclist on the ride wearing one. More than half of report we would like to see, but then it didn't say it is required, right? So the answer should be false. It's not compulsory. There's in the paragraph they didn't say like riders are required. Riders should be something like that. You didn't see any phrases something that requires the riders to wear their helmet, right? They were just saying like we would like to see, hopefully you could wear, because a lot of accidents happen or a lot of people probably died because they didn't wear their helmet or they encountered a lot of injuries. So hopefully something like that only. This is what the paragraph is saying, right?
Ma'am, tricky ma'am yung ano niya statement, no? Talaga
Yes.
mag-iisip.
Tricky siya. Dapat, sige, okay, we are delighted to see more. Parang it's okay, we would be happy if you would wear a helmet, but then again, imagine if you will not wear your helmet, parang ganon. Imagine the injury you would encounter, pero it didn't say na you should, you have to, you are required. Or if you're not wearing the helmet, you cannot join this bicycle ride, something like that. So, dapat you really have to develop your reading comprehension. Okay? Again, some example, okay. Refreshments are free to all participants during the ride. So look for a paragraph up regarding refreshments or drinks, right? Is it free? Let's go back. Ito, refreshment stuff. Pinoy. For Filipinos, actually, like, yeah, we had this for P and F. What else? Usually it's P and F. Sometimes staff. Okay. Refreshment stops. Look out for these along the route. Most are organized by voluntary clubs and their prices give you real value for money. So usually, you have to pay for the refreshment. So it should be false, right? Number 5, is it correct? Is it false? Yes, false. Number 6, not given. Number 6, if you need a rest, you must get off the road. Okay, is it stated in the article? Let's see. Sabi it's not stated. Why? Refreshments. Ano? Ito lang naman eh. Only this, yeah? Something to do. If you have to drop out or you have to, there's a breakdown, so you have to read here. And it's not stated there. So class, read this on your own. Try to answer it again on your own and see why the answer is like that. Okay?
Okay.
Yes. Mabilisan lang tayo konti. So so that's for true or false. So for true or false, so what's the tip for that? Again, you would notice, right, a lot of the answers were paraphrased. So at least try to improve your skill on paraphrasing. Ano pa? So again, basically, not given means the entire statement is not given in the passage. So pag false, it's given in the passage but then it's contradictory. Yun lang. So you don't, that's where the students really find it difficult. Is it false or not given? Kasi nagdo-drawing. Kaya manan. Okay. Paano ba yung i-delete? Sino yung nag-drawing class? Try nyo to delete. Paano ba yung i-delete? Erase. Okay. There. Okay. Okay, another example. Let's focus on true, false, or not given. Okay. An example is this. Okay. Do the following statements agree with the information given in the reading passage 1? So in here, you have to say true if the statement agrees with the information, false if the statement contradicts the information, and not given if you cannot find it from the text. So number 1, these are all the statements. So let's go through them one by one. Okay. Anyway, with the examples I give, we already pinpointed out. We will not read the whole article. I've already separated the exact paragraph, and from that paragraph, you could say, is it true, false, or not given? So we'll go through it one by one. Okay, so these are the answering techniques. Read the facts slowly to make sure that you fully understand what it says. So for question number 1, it says, chronobiology is the study of how living things have evolved over time. So the trick to this, they say, is try to turn that statement into a question. So what's the question? Is chronobiology the study of how living things have evolved over time? So that's the question, huh? Let's go to the article or to the excerpt. So I've already separated the reading passage. So for this, it says, chronobiology might sound a little futuristic, like something from a science fiction novel, perhaps, but it's actually a field of study that concerns one of the oldest processes life on this planet has ever known, short-term rhythms of time and their effect on flora and fauna. So, from this passage, is it true, false, or not given? Is chronobiology the study of how living things have evolved over time? From this passage, does it say yes or no, or true or false, class? The others, some of you answered true.
Not
Is there
given.
a false? No, it's either true or false only because it's
True.
given.
True.
False.
Okay, some of you answered true, some of you answered false. Let's see the
False.
answer. Okay. The reading passage uses the words short-term rhythms of time, guys. So the question fact says how living things have evolved over time. Evolving, imagine na, the word evolution takes a long time, right? So it's not short-term rhythms. So it contradicts. So the answer should be false. Okay? Don't worry. So again, pag-aralan nyo to later ha. Sige. So sometimes you have to really like read. Kasi evolution talks about long term, right? Pero yung chronobiology, sabi niya, chronobiology is the study of short-term rhythms of time. So it's something short. So it contradicts the statement na chronobiology is the study of how living things have evolved over time. Again, evolving will take a lot of time. It's really long time, hindi siya short term. So again, when the statement states like it's a short term chronobiology, it's regarding short term rhythms of time, it contradicts. Kaya false. It's not given. Hindi mo sasabihin na you wouldn't say that the answer is not given because you can find the answer in the passage, right? But then in the passage, the answer contradicts the statement. So the only option is you choose between true or false. Okay? Another example. Okay. So this is statement number 2. The rise and fall of sea levels affect how sea creatures behave. And this is the excerpt from the reading passage. Marine life, for example, is influenced by tidal patterns. So, you would see that the statement is true because sea creatures is used instead of marine life. Also, the rise and fall of sea levels is used instead of tidal patterns. So, for this statement, it is true. Dapat pala, I should have separated the answer so you would have the time to think, right? So do you agree that this is the answer? Do you get it, class?
Yes.
Why it's true? Okay?
Yes.
Another example. Okay. So look out for words that qualify the sentence or make the sentence descriptive in some ways. For example, like only, little, all, some, always, never. So if you look out for such words, it would make the meaning of the sentence different, right? Or it would qualify stuff. So how? What's the example? So for example, this is the statement. Circadian rhythms identify how we do different things on different days. So this is regarding different days, okay? So this is the reading passage. When it comes to humans, chronobiologists are interested in what is known as the circadian rhythm. This is the complete cycle on how our bodies are naturally geared to undergo within the passage of a 24-hour day only. So the statement says something different days, and it contradicts the passage, right? Because here in the passage, it says 24-hour day. That's completely different. So your answer should be false.
False.
Now, this is quite easy. As you would notice, you don't need to say not given because anyway the answer is there, but it contradicts. Okay. Again, if you're spending a lot of time now looking for the answer, probably the guess is the answer is not given. Okay, so this is the example. Most animals are active during the daytime. Is the statement true, false, or not given? Let's read the passage. So the passage says, okay, animals tend to be active or inactive depending on the position of the moon, sun, or moon. Numerous creatures, humans included, are largely diurnal. That is, they like to come out during the hours of sunlight. Nocturnal animals such as bats and possums prefer to forage by night. A third group are known as crepuscular. They thrive in the low light of dawn and dusk and remain inactive at other hours. So this passage talks about, okay, there are nocturnal animals, there are animals that are awake during dawn, but then it doesn't state na, so for most animals, it doesn't quantify, right? So you cannot find the answer. So that's why it is not given.
Not given.
So do you understand why the statement is not given?
Yes, ma'am.
Because of regrouping.
Something like, okay, it says here most animals, right? Basically, it says most animals, are active during daytime. From this passage, can you say, does it state that most animals are active during daytime? No,
No.
right? It's not given. Because from this passage, the passage only states like, okay, some animals are like this, some animals are like this, some animals are like this. But it doesn't state like, okay, majority of the animals, say, let's say 70% of the animals are active during daytime, while 30% are awake at night. If the passage is something like that, then you can say like, okay, it's true or it's false, yeah, right? But then from this passage, it doesn't state anything.
Mm.
So your answer should be not given. Again, another example for yes, no, or not given. So yes, if the statement agrees with the claims of the writer. No, if the statement contradicts the claims of the writer. And not given if it's impossible to say what the writer thinks about this. So these are the types of statements. So helium chooses to be on its own. Helium is a very cold substance. High-tech industries in Asia use more helium than lab and manufacturers in other parts of the world. And 35, the US Congress understood the possible consequences of the HPA. So again, for the succeeding examples, we already separated the passage. We don't need to pinpoint. So we already separated the passage. And from that passage, we will see if the answer should be yes, if the answer should be no, or if the answer is not given, okay? Okay. Again, they say skim and scan the reading passage to find the words that are related. So for example, in this question number 35, you see the proper noun US Congress. So already we pinpointed out where the passage is. So this is the passage. Okay. Although intended to settle the original cause of the reserve by a US Congress ignorant of its ramifications, the result of this fire sale is that global helium prices are so artificially deflated that few can be bothered recycling the substance or using it judiciously. So let's go back to the statement again. It should be number 35. I forgot to pinpoint it. So again, the US Congress understood the possible consequences of the HPA. So let's go back. Is it yes or no or not given? Does it agree? Does it not agree, or it's not given? Again, the US Congress understood the possible consequences of the HPA. Did the US Congress understand it really? Let's go back to the passage. So this is the passage again. Although intended to settle the original cause of the reserve by a US Congress, ignorant of its ramifications, the result of this fire sale is that global helium prices are so artificially deflated that few can be bothered recycling the substance or using it judiciously. So, is it yes, no, or not given?
No.
Class?
Not.
No.
No. Why no?
Yes.
The word ignorant.
Because it says that ignorant, they did not understand.
Yes, because the statement says previously Congress understood, right?
Mm.
But then the passage says here, Congress is ignorant. So it
Mm.
contradicts. So it should be a no. Or later if it's false, no, false, something, right? Okay, another example. Okay, this is the statement. Helium chooses to be on its own. So again, for such for something like this, you have to look for, like what we do, we look for synonyms, something like that, right? So this is the passage. Helium is even cheerfully derided as a loner element since it does not adhere to other molecules like its cousin hydrogen. So is this statement a yes or a no or a not given?
Yes.
It's a yes, right? Because it agrees.
Loner.
Yeah, it's a loner.
Loner.
And in the statement above, it
It's
says
its own.
on
Its
its
own.
own. So it agrees. So it should be a yes. This is easy, yeah. This for this one it's easy. Okay. Again, if you have difficulty finding for the information, chances are it's not given, right? So okay, it's in question number 33. The statement is helium is a cold substance. For example, we already located the passage and this is the relevant passage. Helium, an inert, odorless, monoatomic element known to lay people as the substance that makes balloons float and voices quake when inhaled, could be gone from this planet within a generation. Okay, in this passage, do you see anything that states that helium is a cold or a hot substance for that matter? Helium is an inert. What does inert mean? It's not it's not related to it being hot or cold. So, okay, erase that. Odorless, okay. It's odorless. Monoatomic, it's not related to it being cold or hot, right? So you cannot find anything. So it's not true or it's not false even because the answer is not in the passage, right? It doesn't state, the passage doesn't say anything about helium being a cold
Not given, yes.
yeah, or helium for that matter being a hot substance. So if the passage will say something like helium is a hot substance, then your answer should be false, right?
Yes.
But then in this statement, in this passage, it doesn't say anything about helium being a cold or a hot substance. So it should be not given. And again, you cannot make any assumptions. Some people would say, oh, monoatomic. Maybe mono means you're alone. For us, we can say like, oh, if you're feeling alone, you feel cold. So maybe we can answer it as true. No, don't assume too much, okay? Okay, another one. So this one, there are words that it would qualify it. So it would make it like, let's say false or no. So let's say this is the example. This is a different one. 30% of deaths in the United States are caused by smoking-related diseases. And in the passage, it says, smoking, it is believed, is responsible for 30% of all deaths from cancer and clearly represents the most important preventable cause of cancer in countries like the US today. So you have to note the bold words. Immediately you would say, okay, oh, it's 30%, right? And 30%, so they're the same. So automatically, sometimes people will say this is yes or it's true. But then read again carefully. 30% of deaths in the US.
All deaths, yes.
Yeah, but then here, it's 30% of all deaths from cancer. So it should be no.
No.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So let's go. What's the time now? Are you tired? We started 5, 6, oh, okay, 7. Okay, class. Let's have 15 or 10 minutes?
10 is okay. It's
10
fine,
is
10.
enough.
Yes.
10. Let's have a 10-minute break. Wait. So 6:42, 6:52. Let's come back around 6:52, okay?
All right.
Okay, see you.
See you.
See you.
Bless you. Bless you. Did you finish? First half? What are you watching? Okay, welcome back.
Welcome back.
You can see, am I sharing the PowerPoint? Let's see. Okay, yeah. Okay, this is a bit more difficult. It's the matching with the headings. This is where you would remember it's very important to skim first, so you would know how to answer. So this is the example. Let's just read the general training reading example. So this is a matching heading question example. So as you would see, you have to answer questions 27 to 32. The text would have 7 paragraphs, and so each paragraph is, So each paragraph is allocated, say, with letters. So paragraph A, so paragraph B, paragraph C, and so on and so forth. So it's robots at work, And these are the paragraphs, or this is the article that you need to read. So for each paragraph, they would say, okay, choose the correct heading for paragraphs A, B, and D, and G from the list of headings below. So write the correct number I to X, or let's say this is 1 to 9. It's a Roman numeral. So it's 1 to 9 maybe. In boxes 27 to 32. So it's I to X. So number 27, does paragraph A correspond to this heading, this heading, this heading, and so on and so forth? So the best way to answer this is to do skimming. So at least you would have a general idea on the summary. Then you go back again and see, should the heading be this one? Should the heading be this one? So for paragraph A, what should be the heading? Say, try to read this. It's a very long sentence. Try to read this and see if you can match it with the headings above. But if not, if you find it difficult, fortunately, you have to read everything if you feel. But usually, hopefully, and usually by reading the first sentence, you would have a general idea. So for letter A, the answer is 5 or V. So why V? The newspaper production process has come a long way from the old days when the paper was written, edited, typeset, and ultimately printed in one building with the journalists working on the upper floors and the printing presses going on the ground. So these days, here you are, okay. So V. Why V? Okay, split location for newspaper production. For this, you have to read the, I think you wouldn't get the whole answer just by reading the first sentence. You have to, let's say, do a fast read, do a speed read of the whole paragraph. So at least, so you would know that this should be the heading, split location of newspaper production. Because if you would read this paragraph, it says production before was like this, then now it's splitted into some are done automated, some are not, something like that. See? So try to answer this on your own later, okay? Because for now, I'm just giving you an example. Very hard example, actually. Okay, so another question type is matching information. So let's check. For matching information, you need to match the information from a list or with one of the paragraphs in the passage. So how do you match information? I'll give you an example. So everybody can see this, right? Okay, yeah, everybody can see. So section 1, look at the 5 advertisements. Actually, this is the easiest. Look at the 5 advertisements A to E. Which advertisement mentions the following? So write the correct letter A to E in boxes 1 to 8 on your answer sheet. You may use any letter more than once. So you can repeat your answers. So which advertisement states that they have up-to-date teaching systems? Which advertisement states that the institution has been established for a significant time? So these are the types of adverts. Okay? So let's just go through them. Just a quick look. Then let's go back to the statement. Okay? So, number 1, up-to-date teaching systems. Let's go through all of them. Up-to-date teaching systems. Does this advertisement A, does it say something about up-to-date teaching systems? Up-to-date. Okay, A, nothing. B, one of the world's, maybe this one, latest methods. Latest methods, up-to-date, right? Okay, so we say, okay, oh, I already got the correct answer. Just to be on the safe side, do you see anything on letter C? Advertisement C? Do you see anything related to up-to-date? Maybe this one, high standards of facilities, but B is much more accurate, right? The letter D, does it say anything about up to date? Nothing, right? See? E, does it say anything about up to date? Providing quality? No. Okay. So the answer is B. Okay? Number, wait, where are you, class? You should unmute. Okay. Let's go. The institution has been established for a significant time. So look for that advertisement that states that the institution has been established for a significant number of time. Is it A, B, C, D, E? So let's go look. Number A, letter A. Does it say something about the institution being established for a long time? Class?
No.
Okay, letter B.
And no.
No. Letter C. Check.
No.
No. Letter D.
Yes.
Why?
I think it's mentioned the year, summer courses, like January 2005 something. Can give us a hint to find out.
Okay, maybe. Okay, 2005, it's a bit old. If you compare it now, it's 2020. Let's see
Yeah.
letter E.
Yes. More than 24 years.
More than 24 years.
Oh,
So the
yeah.
answer is
Letter E.
E. E is the best bet. So it's E. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, these are the answers. Let's see why.
All right.
Another. Number 3, examination classes. Which advert or ad mentions anything about, okay, you already know the answer, and let's see why. Examination classes. But then again, let's go through them. Letter A, does it mention anything about examination classes?
No.
No.
Nothing. Nothing. B, something to do with examination?
No.
Nothing. Letter C, something to do with examination? Something like synonymous with exams or tests?
No.
Nothing.
No.
Nothing. Nothing. Letter D, does it say anything about test, or exam? Adults, crash course, none.
No.
High school intensive, nothing. So why E? There. Test. Yeah? That's why the answer was E. Okay, again, let's go back. I like this because this is easy. I don't need to think. Okay, number 4, that arrangements can be made for activities outside class. So what do you think? Any guess? Anyway, you already read the adverts. So any guess? Activities outside class. Activities outside class. Does it mention anything? A? None, right? B? Learn a new language, latest methods. Nothing. Outside class, maybe only this. Offers every sport imaginable. So maybe something with this one. Because see, D doesn't say anything about activities outside class. Again, if you read E, conducted on campus. So it's not outside campus. So let's see if D is the answer. C is the answer. What is the answer? C, right?
C.
Okay, number 5. Okay, the availability of courses for school students. School students, so meaning high school. Letter A, nothing, right? Letter B, for school students, nothing. Letter C, does it say anything about school students?
College.
Where for letter C? College, where?
Government. Okay. No.
None. Letter D, this one.
School.
right? High school.
High school, yes.
So the answer is letter D. And anyway, letter E, again, just to be on the safe side, it just says anyways overseas students, but it doesn't say elementary, high school, or... So answer is D. Where are we now? Okay, language teaching for special purposes. So what's the answer? Special purposes. Letter A, does it say anything about special purposes? None. It just says they could teach in Mandarin, Cantonese, Japanese. Letter B, does it say anything for special purposes?
No.
It says something for special purposes because it says here it's for business, hospitality, or travel. Why? Actually, you wouldn't know like, okay, is this the answer? But then when you go through the other adverts, if you take time, they wouldn't say anything about it being for special purposes. Also here, nothing. E also, nothing for special purposes, only here. Because sometimes when you're learning a language, sometimes you, for example, if you enroll with FI, sometimes you would have courses saying English communication for business, like that. Or English communication for the hospitality industry. We can offer courses like that if you want. Or for example, like travel-related English. Or if you want only, like if you would travel to China and you only want to learn basic Mandarin just for travel purposes. So that's why for this advert, it says, okay, language courses for business, for hospitality, or for travel. That's why it says for special courses. That's why the answer there is B. Let's see if it's correct. What number is that? 6. Is it B? Are we correct? 6 is B, right?
Yes.
Okay, number 7. A wide variety of language choices. This is very easy. So what's the answer? Lots
A.
of A. Yeah. Because anyway, this is the only advertisement where you can see a lot of different languages that you can learn. Like they
Yes,
have
mentioned.
French and Japanese, Mandarin, Cantonese, Thai, and so on and so forth, right? So it's the best answer is A. And if you look at the other ad, nothing, no mention of other languages, right?
Yes.
So number 8, evening classes. So let's go back to the advert. Where do they state something about evening classes? Oh, A, nothing. B, nothing. C, evening, nothing. Letter D, here, morning or evening, right? Let's
Yes.
just check letter E, nothing. So the best answer is
D.
letter D.
D.
Okay, this is easy, I know. You find like, oh, I wish all the exams are like this. Okay, another example is matching features. So you have to match phrases or sentences in the questions with the appropriate items listed in the box. So it's something like the same. It's the same example with matching headings, but I think this is easier. So I'll give you an example of matching features. Wait, I have to turn on my light. I forgot. So have a look at the text. This is the general training reading sample task matching features. So in this, it's an extract from a general training reading text on the subject of the history of cinema. The text preceding this extract gave a general overview. Okay, so it's a history of cinema. So this is the text. Then a bit long. And these are the questions. So look at the following statements, questions 34 to 40, and the list of countries below. So the countries are from A to J. So A is for France, B is for Germany, and so on and so forth. So write the correct letter A to J in boxes 34 to 40 on your answer sheet. So it's better to go back to this question, to look at the questions or the statement first, then you go back to the article or the excerpt. So it helped other countries develop their own film industry. The good thing about this, sometimes it's the answers are in a chronological order sometimes. So it's better to assume that you have to start in the first paragraph. Because some question types, sometimes they mash it, but then best bet is assume that for question number 1, you would find the answers in the first paragraph or the second paragraph. So if not, then again, you have to look for important or keywords in the other paragraph. So it helped other countries develop their own film industry. So let's assume maybe we would look for the keywords, development of film industry. Who are which country? Is it France, Germany, USA? And so on and so forth. So let's go back to the article. So let's assume it's in the first paragraph. So just read here and see which country helped develop. Again, what was the statement? Help other countries develop their own film industry. So read the first paragraph and let me know which country, okay? I'll just turn on the light.
French.
Okay, so it was the French. I heard somebody answer French, right? So it was France.
French. Yes.
Let's see if it's correct.
Yes.
Your answer, class, was France. So letter A. Let's see.
Yes.
What did the answer? So letter A. Okay? So try to answer this on your own. Okay, we don't have time now to go over them because you have your exam. Okay, next sample is matching sentence endings and flowchart completion. So I'll give an example of a flowchart completion for general training. So again, you would see that the same article was repeated, right? We already answered this one previously with the title headings, I think, for robots at work.
Yes.
Yeah. So this one, so you will also encounter this in your IELTS exam. There would be articles that are repeated. So sometimes it's also good because you don't need to reread again another new article. You already have a general idea of what the article is all about. So from here, you have to fill in the blanks, or it's a flowchart completion. So again, class, complete the flowchart below. Choose no more than 3 words from the text for each answer. Remember, if it's no more than 3 words, your option would be 3 words, 2 words, or 1 word. Okay? And if it's a word, and if you have a number answer, so turn that number into a word then. Because anyway, the option is you have to answer in words, not numerals. So the production process, anyway, that's why they repeated the article, because probably you already read earlier. So you just need to fill in the blanks. So the newspaper is compiled, blah, blah, blah. The final version of the text is sent or submitted, maybe 33. And these are the answers. So try to read this again on your own. So maybe they would ask you to answer this at the end because it's a bit difficult and you have to reread really the whole passage just so you could answer the flowchart. Scanning wouldn't work, so better read fast. Okay? So how do you, so that's the end of our PowerPoint. Wait. So later when you do your exams, just go through this if, oh no, this is not complete. I'll send you a complete one. So let's say if your answer is, you got 15 for general training, like, okay, if you got 34, your band score is 7. So I'll send you the complete one later on WhatsApp. So this is just an example anyway. So how to improve your reading skills? What are the websites that you should follow or at least try to read once in a while? I'll give you some examples of the websites. Wait. So, wait, class. I suggest that read on this. Try to read National Geographic. If you're into such stuff, it's good to read some articles from here. Another website is, because usually for the IELTS exam, you would always have some articles from something regarding science. It's usually like that. So try to read also, oh, this one, PopSci, Popular Science. Maybe later also, okay, you will also find some articles that they would get from these websites. Another website is Economist Magazine. This is really good also, so you can improve on your vocabulary. So try reading The Economist. Sometimes in the offices, they also have publication. You also subscribe to this. So if you have the paper issue, try to read, bring it home. So read or follow them on Facebook, The Economist. Another website to read is The Economist Technology Quarterly. It's very important to be updated with issues regarding technology. And usually these are the kind of articles that you would find during the exam, okay? So try to read on technology. It's from the Economist website also. Another one is, okay, regarding, again, it's like National Geographic. So is Australian Geographic. It's also a good website to read. It's just some of my recommendations. So anything about science, environment, what else? History and culture. So this is a good read. So try to go around. I'll just send the link later. But then let's go through them one by one. Again, see, the focus really is mostly on science because this is the type of articles that you would find during the exam. So again, it's science focus. It's by BBC. So try again. So if you want to be updated with Corona also, with COVID-19, is there vaccines? Are they working on a vaccine now? Is it finished? What phase are we in? Or anything regarding technology, nature, space, the human body. So this is a good website also. Another one is, it's all about science, huh? The New Scientist. See, science is very important. Again, if you want, read. Go to this website again, Science Daily. So aside from, let's say, reading BBC, reading or following BBC News, read these ones, okay? Again, The Economist, American Scientist magazine. So it's also good to read here. At least it would improve your reading comprehension, your vocabulary, and again, because sometimes also this would be the same topics that they would ask on the essay. BBC News, again. So Read on this. Especially it's good if you're into traveling, health, or if you like celebrity news. Okay, go and read about Blackpink. Like, read about Blackpink or BTS. Yeah. What else? What are the sample reading papers? Nah. Okay. So class. 7:19. Usually your exam would take. It should take 1 hour. So I'll send you the file of the exam. Okay, wait. I'll send it by WhatsApp and spend 1 hour answering the reading exam. Then I'll also send you the answer key. Hopefully finish it today, okay? So you can start, time yourself. You can start around, let's say 7:25 or have a rest, start 7:30 and finish 8:30, check. I'll send you also the band scores. You can check it on your own, okay? Wait. So, let's send the, what's up? Reading. Okay, I'll send. I hope you can watch reading test. Where is it? Test answer, regional training reading test. Okay, this and the answer. Then. Okay. There. And this is the sample. I'll also send you the answer sheet. So if you have your own printer, print it out. It's also good. Print it out. It's on your WhatsApp class, huh? It's in your WhatsApp. So you can start,
Yes.
have a rest,
Yes,
eat
got
something,
it.
or eat while you're taking your exam. But time it for 1 hour only, okay? I also included the answer key. This is the answer sheet. I've also included on WhatsApp, the answer sheet. I'll send you the equivalent band score later. Then I'll send it also. I'll send the WhatsApp also and the PowerPoint today. Okay? Good luck and let me know.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, see you, class.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
If you need more questions, if you need more practice exams, okay?
Okay.
But if not, okay, see you later.
Ma'am, excuse me, Priscilla here. Ma'am, can I